Perhaps this was the outer view of the ruined city on the island. The master spoke to the demon standing before him, ordering it to disperse and withdraw from the area where lightning was about to strike. Shikigami heads. Substitution activates automatically when lethal damage or unavoidable attacks occur within a restricted area. The substitution triggers on its own, consuming a large amount of yin energy along with a small portion of the caster's life force. Through this process, a Shikigami doll is created, one that is completely bound to the caster's life force and aura. In this state, the doll forcibly absorbs all damage dealt to the caster, acting as a perfect substitute. While he was explaining all this, a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed toward him. He immediately sensed it, shifted position, jumped away, and narrowly avoided the lightning strike. The status window shows that 100 Monsters Night Parade instantly spreads yin energy across the remaining yin fragments, each carrying 20% of the wizard's HP along with the wizard's aura, rapidly dispersing in all directions. Without wasting a second, he took aim and fired an arrow straight at the lightning, crashing down from the sky. The status window updated. Shadow Moon has acquired Rift Path. This is a specially crafted Shadow Special. The arrow itself is not meant for direct damage. Instead, it detonates upon direct contact, creating a 2-second Shadow Will field. Any energy-based attack passing through this field is subjected to an overwhelming gravitational force, forcibly distorting its trajectory. Here Master and all his companions stood together, lightning striking from the sky. The castle where Luon was located was clearly visible. Glancing at him, he said coldly, "This is the cannon that killed my second brother." Glancing at Luon, he threatened, "Dragon Tamer, I will extract your soul, purify your emotions, and offer them in honor of the brave martyrs of the Sakura Nation. You will not escape my hands." But then, something completely unexpected happened. Master stepped forward in shock. "What's happening? My wounds! They're healing on their own!" Suddenly, his wounds began to heal, and the damage caused by the shadow toxin also began to disappear. His companions were completely astonished by this sight. "This shouldn't be possible. Is this some kind of miraculous magic?" one of them said. "No, this is a gift from the beginning of life." When they all turned around, they saw an enormous tree towering behind them, radiating a sacred divine light. At the sight of it, he thought to himself, such a divine creation, something capable of controlling the balance of heaven and earth itself, how truly transcendent. If I possessed this power, why would I ever submit to anyone else? These so-called sons of heaven would become utterly meaningless. Luon was watching their reactions on the screen. As soon as Luon saw them, I completely understood. He was consumed by greed. The greed in his eyes was clear, shining brighter than my monocrystal cannon. "Here, Master," the one called the Great Assassin, said, "such a divine world, a place where all wounds will heal, where everything will be all right. This island should also be mine under my rule." Seeing their reactions, Luon smiled and said lightly, "Convincing a proud hunter that the treasure of his dreams is within his reach, really isn't that fun?" Then he shattered that very dream with his bare hands. He said, "This is the most spectacular scene of this entire performance." Everyone halted in their tracks. The man standing behind the master spoke nervously. "Master, something feels wrong. Everything over there is too quiet. Is it truly calm, or is this a trap? Do we really have anything we can trust?" As the silence stretched on, their spirits instead began to rise. "We'll restore honor to our families," they thought. Excitement spread among them. The archer sneered, drew his bow, and said, "This is a fine platform." Then he aimed it and added coldly, "At the very least, being buried here will give him some peace." But at that moment, Luon appeared. "And where are the rest of you?" he said calmly. "Out of more than 1,000 people, only 4 remain, and you still dare to shout." His gaze was sharp and merciless. "Do you still not understand how close your end truly is?" The moment they saw Luon, almost everyone was so terrified that they froze in place. It really was Luon. But then, something happened that stunned everyone. What kind of horror was it powerful enough to force them to flee? A colossal dragon suddenly appeared. It seized one of the men tightly in its claws. The dragon was unimaginably massive. Staring at it in disbelief, one of his companions stammered, "Brother, I've never seen a dragon like this before. This is my first time seeing something like this." The others were equally shaken. Just how enormous could a dragon possibly be? At this level, It felt as though it could conquer entire nations on its own. An old man nearby stared in shock and muttered, "Good heavens, it looks even bigger than you could ever imagine." Then suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupted. An explosion slammed straight into the ground. At the same time, the dragon fixed its gaze on the man, opened its enormous jaws, pinned him beneath its body, and carried him away. After devouring him, the dragon ignited its flames, roasting him, as it said casually, "These things, their spiciness is actually quite delicious." They were there. Sister Han, Kim Ko, and Geo Oman. They were all completely amazed by what they were seeing. "What kind of dragon is this?" someone said in surprise. "Tasting this kind of food? How dangerous is it?" The girl from Villa Number 2 was also there, but she was standing apart, leaning against a different wall, lost in her own thoughts. Seeing this, Lu Fan's aunt said anxiously, "Oh no, it seems Lu Fan is being a bit careless." At the same time, Lu hurled the dragon aside. It immediately began forming massive fireballs. He glanced at the group below and thought to himself, "Huh, are these really edible?" Seeing this, Lu Fan's aunt said anxiously, "Oh no, it seems Lu Fan is being a bit careless." The dragon, his eyes fixed on them, a throbbing ball of fire burning behind his back, was watching intently, as if to determine whether they were edible. At the same time, the shaft dragon, still holding the man in its mouth, grabbed a third person with its free claw. Looking at them, it thought to itself, "If I roast this at a higher temperature, it should taste even better." It wanted to know if this tiny thing could withstand its fire. What if it burned to ashes and there was nothing left to eat? Thinking this, it closed its eyes and released a very intense heat. The master standing nearby was terrified by the heat and ran for his life. He was completely bewildered, wondering where all these dragons had come from. Such large dragons and even larger dragon guns were fanning the flames, burning many people alive. Seeing this, the entire Dream Masters team got scared. They could not understand how this could happen. Everyone started running for their lives. Watching this from a distance, Lu Fan smiled and said calmly, "Oh guys, are you trying to escape? Come on, shouldn't you take revenge on me?" The dragon looked at them and said lazily, "Relax, relax. They won't be able to escape." At that very moment, Lu Fan's dragon activated a power, creating a powerful whirlwind. Those trying to escape were instantly sucked into the air. Another dragon came and jokingly said, "Hey, can't you even keep an eye on some ants? They're trying to escape." But the other dragons were busy eating, killing them and eating them non-stop. Seeing that he had almost become a vegetarian and was eating people, the other dragon tried to yell at them, "Hey, all of you, stay away from me!" After that, both dragons bowed their heads and stood aside. One of them said in a low voice, "Brother, eating isn't entertainment, it's a vital process for survival. It's what keeps us alive." Meanwhile, the rest of the enemy's comrades were still hanging helplessly in the air.